And we're back again. Yeah, it blue screened again. I think having the stream running as well as the engine is just a little bit too much for it. We'll persevere. Yeah, I've got 192 gigs of RAM sat next to me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the maximum that the board supports. Yeah, I keep the Stage 9 project around for posterity's sake. And the Orville one, for that matter. Right, so we shouldn't have lost anything, because I always save when I compile, so we should be good. Yeah, so we've still got our integers there. Nothing weird going on there. Oh yeah, that doesn't need to be there anymore. Do we still have that? No. Right, so there's a little bit of work to do here. Action message. Yeah, clearly I don't do it every time, but generally speaking, it's like a reflex. So as soon as I hit compile, I always hit save straight away. Most of the time. I think it was literally just this. This bit we'd already done. The only thing we needed to add on here was that message. No, not there actually. It was here. GPS clear field. Right, there we go. That's back to where we were. Right, and then we noticed what it wasn't doing. It wasn't actually clearing the field from the data. So we need to do that. So all three of these we need that one. No, that one. Running out of room. You got squirrels, Firstus. That's really cool. The only up close and personal experience I've ever had with a squirrel was a very painful one. We had a rescue dog which really liked a squirrel that was hunkering down in a forest, and it was barking at it, and the squirrel was obviously freaked out. And obviously, we got the dog out of the way, and the squirrel was still there, like completely motionless and stationary, and I thought it was hurt, so I picked it up to see if it was injured in any way. And it was in my hand for, I'd say, about 15 seconds, just completely unmoving, and then all of a sudden it just burst into life and sunk its teeth straight into my finger, all the way to the bone, and would not let go. It was just hanging there with its teeth in my finger, like right in the knuckle. And they're just standing there with this squirrel attached to my hand, kind of not knowing what to do with it. So I kind of just held my hand up against the tree trunk and just like tried to encourage it off onto the tree trunk. And I put my other hand there to try and pull it off, and it latched onto my other hand instead. So now I've got two hands that are just streaming with blood. And eventually it did just hop off and run up the tree. And I was like, wow, how's that for gratitude? And yeah, I bled a lot that day. So I learned my lesson. Don't pick up a squirrel. Yeah, I think I was pretty close to fainting. I put my hands in a stream to clean my hands, and the stream turned red. It was quite bad. I'm just thinking, when I make this vector, it's probably going to show up 0 on the UI. It's not necessarily the end of the world because it'll trim the leading 0 anyway. Yeah, we'll just give that a whirl and see. So all we're doing here is when we click the X edit button, it will just clear out that field, and the same with these. Yes, I've just saved it. Yeah, so I wouldn't have picked it up had it not just been laying there motionless. I genuinely thought it was hurt in some way and needed attention. I didn't realise that squirrels went into this sort of freeze state, and then they turn into just whirling balls of teeth and claws. Ooh, no, that works perfectly, actually. Well, that's not hooked up yet, so we'll hook that one up. Now, the beauty of doing this, and the necessity of doing this in this way, is that in multiplayer, you'll see the individual key presses now, whereas before, you wouldn't have seen them, or you wouldn't have seen this update until the set button was pressed. But now you'll see each individual digit appear when other players are pressing the buttons, which is definitely an improvement. Oh, absolutely tripping, I agree. So that and that are all good, which means we now need to do that one, which means we can steal the code that we did earlier, which was that. Actually, no, none of that's useful. Okay, so yeah, similar to this, we're going to need to do this depending on which button's been pressed. There's no point making it a macro because I'm only using it once. I might just handle this by way of a collapsed graph instead. So if we do a select on there, this is actually going to be easier than before because we don't need to worry about the fact that it's a text field. Right, so X. So that multiplied by -1 is what we need for there. And then everything else just needs to be that. I probably don't. Should be able to get away with just that actually. Because it shouldn't even be entering this this bit of code unless it's already on GPS mode. So other fields should not be relevant. trying to do this as neatly as I can. No, it wouldn't be those anyway, would it? Hang on. Ooh, got myself all confused. Right, so we've got our X, our Y, and our Z. So let's just move them down there a minute. Nothing is selected. We just pass through the existing value. If X is selected, we use that value. And then it doesn't matter for any of the others. Though, yeah, we do actually need to fill out those ones. Yeah. Because if we don't fill out those ones, then we're going to send a 0 value, which we don't want to do. Right, next. So Y, and then we have that for the other two. Yeah, if only they were stable. Right, that should do us. So blah, 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 flipping the value, flipping the value, flipping the value. We don't want to clear the field. We don't want to set that. Okay, that should handle the flipping of the positive and negative. Which means the last one is delete and clear. We were going to replace clear with something else, and I can't remember what now. Cancel, I think it was. Yeah, that was it. So if you click edit, but you don't actually want to edit anything, we want that to be the cancel button, so you can back out, because clear is done automatically now. And delete obviously is reasonably simple. We just left chop the string. So we're not dealing with text input this time. We're dealing with an actual float. Probably collapse these into a group as well, just to keep the graph clean. Let's make sure that that is actually still doing everything it needs to do. Yep. Those and those, copy them. Right, I guess similar to this one then, we need to, in fact, so similar is it, I think we're just going to copy that one. I'm happy to do a build stream, but it's only just going to be me talking while I do it, because as I say, I don't have a camera yet. I don't have a camera yet, because I will get one for the office. And you can laugh at me scratching my head while I figure things out. So we need to convert these to text, no, to string. So we want to truncate it first, then to a string, because we don't want any decimals. Gubbins out of the way. Then basically we just want to left chop that value. Practically that's it, job done. Excepting for the fact that we only want to do that if our select statement says so. So I don't want those. Don't want that, all that, all that, all that. So if we have that one selected, we're going to left chop it. Otherwise, we don't want to do that. Right, and then the same on these. So Y we will left chop, and the others we will not. Chop, and the others we will not. It's a little bit messy, but it does the trick. Yeah, so we'll pop that in as an... Oh, actually, no, we don't need to, do we? Because it's a collapsed graph, not a macro, so we don't even need that. Gives us our delete functionality. Right, so both of those should now work. Another whirl. Oh, that's interesting to know. Like my longest stream on here has been 6 hours. 6, 7 hours, something like that. So yeah, I'm barely half of that. Right. If this blue screens again, I will call it a night. So just a heads up. If I suddenly disappear, I won't be coming back. Okay, so that works. That works. And that works. Perfect. I would say that was perfect. Oh, why would you go and say that? No. Phew. Yeah, because in the code it's multiplying it by -1. So 0 multiplied by -1 is still 0. So yeah, that just works naturally. Yay, something I don't need to worry about. Thank you, Firstus. I think we lucked out there, though. I think we're good. Oh, I should probably just check that we have a full range of buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? Why didn't that clear? Do we want next to clear? I suppose we do, don't we? Yeah, all the parts are here already. Actually. I did post them on our Discord. One sec. Too many channels. There's all the pieces. So, and I suppose no one has pointed out the face hugger. It's Huggy the face hugger. No one spotted it. Yeah, so I've got 3 new monitors with actual Visa mounts because my existing monitors do not have Visa mounts, which is just weird. But they were cheap, so I suppose that stands to reason. That's an all-in-one liquid cooler, motherboard, power supply. First time I've ever had a kilowatt power supply. That's a delicious RTX 4090. T700 SSD, NVMe. It's a PCI Express 5 NVMe. Some thermal paste. 2 matched pairs of 96 gig RAM, so 192 gigs in total. That is a 9950X Ryzen. That is an official copy of Windows 11. And that is a Thermaltake Core P3 case, which is wall mountable, and it will be wall mounted. So that's what I've currently got sat next to me, and it just needs to be put together. As you may noticed, I'm a bit of an Asus fanboy. I've always bought Asus hardware, like since forever. I'm actually going to be getting a NAS. I just haven't found one that's perfect yet. So it'll have probably several terabytes of backup storage. But I've got hundreds of old hard drives lying around, so I'm certainly not short of physical drives. Yeah, it's an NVMe drive. The motherboard actually has 5 NVMe slots, which is awesome. But I just went with the single 4 terabyte drive for now. I'll figure out what I'm doing with the rest of them later. I don't actually know what a 321 backup is. Obviously we've got our GitLab server, where everything's hosted online, plus online file storage, plus second hard drives, plus laptop. So it's backed up in many places. Ah, of course. Yeah, see, Claire understands. Right, what are we missing then? I shall leave that one for a minute. Need to have a think about how I'm doing that. Ah, I see. Surely copies and backups are the same thing. So we've got, well, on this particular computer, it's backed up on 2 hard drives. So 2 hard drives, plus my laptop, plus our GitLab server, plus an online file storage. So that's plenty of places. And on the NAS drive when I get one. Good night, Scotty. Have a good night. Okay, so when we press the next button, we're not actually clearing the fields. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because when you press the edit button, obviously it clears the fields, so you can start typing. But do we want that behavior when you press next? Because if you could next all the way through, it clears all the fields, which we don't necessarily want. Yeah, let's leave that as is for now. So on here then, we can basically get rid of all of this. So that is no longer relevant. Well, it certainly isn't relevant. Don't think I was doing anything different in here. No, so all of that can go. Yay for deleting code. Always my favourite thing to do. Right, which gets us down to just this for our main logic handling. I say logic, it's not really logic even, it's just updating the UI. Yeah, absolutely. The best code is no code. Okay, so the filter for the long range sensors needs hooking up. Focal point is done. Details back and scan, I'll be doing them shortly. It's this one. That's the center helm, so yeah, that's fine. Get to the medium one afterwards. Right, so something I noticed it wasn't doing is it wasn't doing the range properly on the long range. And also on begin play, we want to be able to set that using the defaults. So we'll do it here, as good a place as any. Actually, no, not there, because we want to do that on the server. So, blah 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 blah. So we want to do that and move that out of the way a bit. So find our upstream cable and also set that value there. So that doesn't need an action message anymore, actually. We just want to set our mode. Right, that should take care of the sensors not actually having any data when the game starts. Oh yeah, none of that. None of that needs to be there now. Be gone. Good night, Kit. See you now in the next stream. Alright, so that didn't work. Right. So essentially it's saying 101 targets, and that's not updating when we do the display range. So that's the next thing to fix. Well, to put it into perspective, I'm still using a 2080 Ti now, and my 2080 can run everything that I've ever thrown at it. It's never had an issue. Yeah, it was an absolute beast when I got it, but it's definitely held its value, I would say. Good question. 16? Yeah, 16. Actually, 4K is a good question, because the three monitors that I bought are all 1080p monitors. Not quite sure why I went with 1080p, to be honest. I guess that's just what I've always kind of defaulted to. But I probably will pick up a 4K monitor as well to do testing with. Obviously, we need the game to support 4K just as well as it does 1080p. Oh wow, Chris, that's huge. I can see where the issue is here. This is back in the old version when we weren't using a single structure to hold everything. So now we can just grab that, for all the junk we don't need, and get our sensor range. So I imagine that variable set to 20 by default. Yeah, so it was always forcing a view distance of 20 light years. Now it should be what it should be. Yeah, there we go. So the list grows as we zoom out. So you'll notice that you've got like 4,000 odd targets here. And it's quite laggy as you have that many targets on screen. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is working on making this a lot more performant. And the reason this is so laggy is because it's running a query to regenerate this data as you zoom. So what I'm going to do is, in the same way as I'm doing with the GPS, generate and store that data. And rather than the holo display dealing with the data itself like it does now, it's going to use that same file that the sensors broadcasts out. So the holo display is going to be treated essentially like a 3D monitor. So it's going to do no logic whatsoever. It's just going to display the data that the sensors is giving it. And we'll use that same methodology for all the other stations as well. So each bridge station will have this state file, and then we'll pass the state file to the holo display, and it will read the state file and then display its 3D version of that data. Which means that what you see on the holo display can only ever mirror exactly what's on here, because it's the same data. Yeah. Thing is, when you're building systems like this and you need the galaxy data, it's easy just to go and fetch the galaxy data, but of course there's a cost to that. So with redesigning the way the sensors works, it's not just about the visual UI element, it's also about how the data is handled and how it's passed around and shared between systems. There's only one most optimal way of doing it, and we're on a quest to find that. I think we can stop randomly showing percentages there now as well. Hopefully, certainly on this build, we'll get to the point where we can go up to 25% on the saved scan data, which would be nice. The first 10% is easy, just scan the star, and then the next 15% to take you up to 25 should be equally as easy, just scan the system, and then working out the planets is the hard part. So if we grab our list item, down here somewhere, that one, U. So right now we're randomly specifying this, so if we stop randomly specifying it, so default that to 0. Just one less thing for it to do. Well, let's zoom in. Yeah, well, eventually 100% explored will include surface locations. But until we get them, it's just a case of scanning each planetary body. Again, I think we'll draw the line somewhere in terms of mass, so it won't expect you to scan every single asteroid or boulder in the system. But things like comets, like major objects, perhaps, definitely. I believe that's part of the tutorial. I'd have to go and check. The cold and dark tutorial will be, it won't be rewritten, but it will be refreshed when all the new engineering bits are added, because there's lots of staircases that don't line up and wall panels that don't fit and walls over doorways that shouldn't be there. So once all that's been polished, I'll go through the cold and dark tutorial and just make sure that everything is properly lined up and makes sense. The scanning and navigation tutorial, however, will need a complete rewrite on account of this being completely different. I might also have Ava fly the ship, so you don't need to get out of the chair. Right, so that was that fixed, wasn't it? So the next thing we need to do is we need to handle the clicking of the thing. So right, so list object, blah 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 blah, set it all up. So previously we were storing the two targets separately, which we don't want to do anymore. So instead, yeah, so we're going through and we're storing this directly on the blueprint, which won't work in multiplayer. So that needs, because we can't set a replicated variable from a client, especially not on a widget. So we need to turn this into what is essentially a key press from the widget. So it means on here we need to close some tabs. That's what we need to do. So we need a new event here. What shall we call it? Sector location target. Then we need to pass that through literally as a button press. However, what data are we actually passing there? So this is sector location. Do we have that our blueprint interface? Sensors. That's sector location. Sector location, right? So we can use that one. So that's sensors. Long range selection. Right, so we can send that through there. Send that through as a blueprint interface message. Oh yeah, we can ignore that because we'll handle that from the blueprint itself. Actually, no, we can't use this because that's going to be used by the player controller on the way back. So we can't reference the same blueprint interface function twice on the same blueprint. So it's going to have to be added down here. What was it called? Sensors long range selection. So do we have that here already? We do. So we need to replace this functionality with that. And this would be selected sector location. What does that do? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Nothing we're interested in. Right, so we're going to need some kind of an action message there to force it to refresh the listing to essentially update that one's been highlighted. Right, then on here we do update long range section. And on here, basically we don't want to do any of that. Actually, no, we do need some of that. Need that bit. Forgotten what I called it already. Sector location targeted. I suppose I should name that more in keeping with this. Sensor long range selection. Yeah, sorry guys, I've not been watching the chat. I've got my brain in working out what I'm doing mode. Hang on, let me catch up. Welcome Sora, glad to have you on the stream. Yes, dev streams do in fact exist, twice a week. Blah blah blah, right, that can go. So quite simply, we've condensed all of this down to this very simple functionality. We cast to the parent object and just give it a reference to its particular sector location, which we specify here. So when we add this list item, we tell it which sector location it relates to. So when we click on it, it already has that information available. Right. That then fires through to the parent blueprint, which then fires through to player controller to make it server authoritative, which then gives us permission to set the rep notify variable. All we're doing is setting the selected system. Again, all of this hassle when jumping through hoops is purely because we need to replicate this. If multiplayer wasn't a factor, then none of this would be necessary. So yay for multiplayer. Right. So that takes us back up to here in our long range logic. Okay, so at the moment we're listing the sector locations using this macro, which quite simply just loops through our stored locations and updates them accordingly. Now we don't want to clear the list. Because in an ideal world, it would be nice just to redraw the list. We'll lose our scroll point. So instead, why don't we? Add another action here. So long refresh visible list items. The one we need. We'll just loop through that and refresh them. I agree. Yeah, just a make my game please button would be lovely. Right, so each one of these we need to refresh it. So is the class even? So it's sector locations. Okay, and then we need to force a refresh on the highlight. So it's already there, force updates. Right, so basically if we fire this action message, it will go through all the visible list items that are currently on screen and force an update so we know which one's been highlighted. So we just need to make sure this is fired, and that would be fired by this. Oh, just pressed Control C instead of Control V, which is always annoying. Right, so when this data is processed, that should be picked up and handled. Then yeah, so on here, so I've already pulled that one out, so that's good. So we're taking a selected sector location and comparing it to the stored sector location. If they are equal, then we highlight this particular entry. However, I have a suspicion that that's not actually being set yet. It should be here, yeah, so that needs... just needs a copy of that, that's all. This all needs tidying up at some point. Right, so that should populate the list item with all the data we need. It does mean that each one of those list items is going to hold a copy of all of the sensor data, which might prove to be less than optimal. Yeah, it is less than optimal. So, because if we've got like 11,000 star systems on the list, then it's 11,000 times the amount of data that's in here, which could potentially be a further 11,000 pieces of information. So that's a tremendous amount of data. So what we want to do instead is we just want to take out the selected item, which is one, and we want to pass that to it as well. So we need to change that variable type. Just make sure it's not used anywhere else. No, it's not. That's fine. So break it. Fix those errors in a sec. This should now be refresh that. Okay. Okay. Right. That's better. So now we're only passing the details of a single sector through, so sector location even, just a single star system through, rather than the entire bulk of the sensors data, which would have been insane. Right, so I can just go straight into there now. Much betterer. Right, let's give that a try a minute. Okay, not seeing any activity. Right. Why not? Let's see if we can do some spams. first and foremost, is it detecting the fact that it's being clicked? Click. Click. Yeah, so it's happy with that. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Let's make sure we're getting the system through. It's passing the right data because we're getting the right names come up. So basically, we just need to follow the logic chain through until we find out where it's failing. So that goes through to there, that goes through to there, that goes through to there. We set our sensors data. That comes through back to here. Let's actually check it on here. We know this is right. So we know it's being given the correct ID. So let's see what's going on here. So that's the one we've selected. And this one is that. And are we selected? So that goes in there. That needs converting to a string. So does that. Blah, 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 blah. Right, so that should tell us what's going on. In fact, if we make it pink and make it last longer. Okay, that's fine because that's just all of them drawing themselves. They should disappear in a sec. Right, let's click Sol. Oh, okay, so... Right, so what's happening there is... It's not... Either it's not firing the event... Yeah, because I've put this in the wrong place really. That should be... there. It's the forced update that we're actually checking here. I suspect it's not actually doing the forced update. We shall see. Right, so I can see there that the selected coordinates are 0 across the board, so that's obviously not going to match. Interesting. Just refresh that just to be sure. Right, okay, no, I've just figured out what's happening actually. So, of course, this isn't going to be aware of which one we've selected because we've drawn the list item, but we haven't updated the list item to say, right, here's the new selection. Okay, see you, Sora. Thanks for the support. So what we actually need to do here is when we redraw the UI, which would be in here somewhere here, we actually need to set the selected location and then force the update. Yeah, because we haven't told the existing ones what the selection actually is. Assuming this works as I expect it to. Right. Aha! Perfect. Still showing us, yeah. So the next thing to do with this is, now that we've got a record of which one's been selected, two things needs to happen. We need to generate everything within that system. So the moment you click on it, it needs to do the full system gen. And then we need to make sure that when you click full view detail, it's selecting the right data pool, which it's not currently. It's still using the old one. So let's get rid of that debug spam a minute. I suppose the next link in the chain here is going to be this. So blah, 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 long range. Then we've got long range details. Thank you, Delta. That's probably the world's most unnecessary super chat, but thank you anyway. I appreciate it. So we're basically forcing the hand of the sensors UI here by just telling it to fade and select. Oh, you guys, thank you. Right, so now we're into the bulk of all this stuff down here. So all that got cleared up. Now we're clearing up all of this. So this is the next thing we need to delete. Right, so we can begin with getting rid of those. I'll keep them to one side for a minute. I don't even know what to say now. I shall just say thank you. Right, yeah, so we didn't... Right, yeah, so we're clicking... Oh, first us. You do realise there's only so much chocolate Claire can eat. Actually, speaking of your generosity, I totally forgot to mention, through all the blue screens and everything, that we of course have an augmented competition to run this week. So on Sunday, we were hoping to do it for this stream, but it's been so busy this week, we haven't had a chance. So on Sunday's stream, we're going to do an extended key giveaway, where not only are we giving away 3 keys, we're also giving away 3 whole Captain Tier supporter ranks, thanks to Firstus, who kindly purchased those on the last stream. So this is going to be a key giveaway sponsored by Firstus. So we'll open up the competition channel on the Discord probably tomorrow at this point, because it's getting late. So we'll make that live tomorrow, and then you'll have until Sunday's stream to pick your numbers. And if you are a lucky winner, then you'll either win just a key or the full Captain Tier rank. I'll also be putting your name all over the competition page. And the way we're going to handle it is we'll do 6 draws pretty much back to back. we'll do the first 3 draws as just a key, and then the second set of 3 draws for the 3 captain ranks. Oh, don't worry, the PC will be built tomorrow. If this stream tonight has taught me anything, it's to put this build back a couple of days and just get this thing built. Although you never know, I might actually get the bit done tonight that I wanted to get done. Thanks, Delta. I do actually want to have the mop work on the floor, so that's very much a feature creep that Claire would shout at me for. Right, what was I doing? Long range, back and details. Right, okay. So, so we've pressed the details button, which means we're not setting any data as such. We just need to, I guess really, we just need to send an action message. Want that. Which one are you? Right, so instead of forcing these events directly on the widget, we're going to trigger them down the chain, the same way as we're triggering everything else with these action messages. It may seem a more long-winded way of doing it, but it means that we can put all this functionality within the main logic handling block rather than it being something separate. So we'll get rid of that. You do realise that you two are now single-handedly funding the game. That is a fair point, though. Yeah, if you have your own business, then let us know, and then we'll put it in the game somewhere. So we need to basically take all of this logic, delete it from there, and all of that can come into here. I'll get over there a minute. Thanks, BC5. Yeah, we had 2 blue screens tonight. It's a new record. I'm going to collapse these to collapsed nodes at some point in a minute. Otherwise this is going to get unwieldy. In fact, start doing it now. Why not? I would say we definitely need some kind of cargo shipping company in the game universe named after your company. That would be quite cool. Ah, that's what I was looking for. So these events are actually fired by the animation when it plays, which is very useful. So I was just trying to work out, do I populate the list here, or rather when you press the button, or do we do it here, because this triggers halfway through the animation, so essentially the animation will swap between these halfway. So at the same time that we make the widget visible, and we can show the data. So what does that do? Where is it called from? It's only called from that one place. So technically, we can stick all of that on here. Right, we don't need to do that because we've already got. Yeah, so we'll populate that on the blueprint. So what we actually need from here then is the so we need the sector locations, that's that one. We don't need that if we're not doing that, so instead we want that, which can go straight into there, which means we can get rid of that and go straight into the listing aspect of it. Don't need any of that. So that should draw us our list. We just need to make sure that we grab this next. And we'll do that on here. So where is it? Nope, that's not needed anymore. Okay, so when we do this, we also need to store details as well, which means we need to cast over to game state. Whoops. Should do it, I think. Right, so whenever you click on one of the main list items, it's going to fetch the details for that and store it within this variable, which means when you actually click the details tab, it should be all there. So let's just make sure that that is indeed the case. Aha, excellent. Why are you flashing? I accidentally clicked that. Ah, weird. Ah, that'll be why. Thought it would be something simple. Okay, so that just worked, brilliant. So we need to make sure that we have the targets picked up now as well. Obviously we've got this to do, like we had with the GPS one. It's true, Cloud, you are the chief bug solver. Yeah, you make an interesting point there, Delta. I think it would be nice if AAA devs did what we do and just literally just stream everything we're doing. But there tends to be I guess this culture within AAA studios where everything has to be hidden and kept close to your chest, and you don't share details about the game, you don't leak anything, everyone's under an NDA. It's all very, very tight-lipped. I think indie studios have more freedom in that regard. We can just do what we want, really. Even if it makes me look completely inept sometimes. Quite often, maybe. Like now, when I can't remember what I was doing. Right, yeah, we need to populate some values, don't we? So I notice that these are not updating, so just need to make sure that they get updated. So basically these two variables here are redundant now. We're no longer using them because we have the mega variable that contains everything. So this, we grab that. So I'm just thinking that there's two distinct listing modes here, and we don't want to get them muddled up. So we've got our selected location there, and then we want to grab our coordinates from that. So that's our galaxy XYZ. Right, this one is just going to have to be 0, 0, 0. Really need to start collapsing some of these boxes. So I can't have it display something other than 0, 0, 0, because of course that's the coordinates for Sat J, so we can't really mess with that. So this works as expected. Does center helm work? We'll never know. Why is that not working? Oh, I put that in the wrong box. Oh, yeah, I did that. Okay, so the helm is going to require a little bit of an update for this because we're passing through a completely different variable now. So so that's sensors data. Probably not actually setting that variable yet. Let me just double check. Thank you, Delta. I don't think we've actually picked up the center helm button. Details back, scan. It's a nice way of looking at it. A circle of inspiration. I like that. Okay, I can see what's happening there. That needs to go away. And it needs to be replaced with this. Of course, the interesting thing here is we're using a large system object as our data structure, which is stars and planets within a system. Obviously, we haven't specifically targeted anything when we click the list, so we need to fix that. Let's move you up there alongside that one, because you're both doing different stuff. So current sensor target is wrong. We don't want that. We want that. Oops. I guess we need to set ourselves up a system object when we click the item in the list. So by default, that just needs to be the central star. Oh, you lot. Oh, it won't let me like it. Why can't I like it? Oh, there we go. Yes, FleetCon will definitely be a thing. Not quite sure when yet, but yeah, absolutely. FleetCon will most certainly definitely be a thing. Right, so where's our handling code for clickety-click? Okay, send through on set to location, blah 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 blahs. So we went to PitCon a year or so ago. Was it a year or so now? How long ago was PitCon? Wow. And the way that the Burpit did it is they hired out a convention room in a hotel, which is really nice because you can stay the night in the hotel, yeah, and have the convention in the hotel as well. It just worked brilliantly. So we'll do the same thing. Maybe even the same hotel, because it was really nice. And it will be in the UK, sadly. I think as we get bigger, we can do a US one as well. But our very first one will definitely be in the UK. That would be pretty cool on an aircraft carrier for sure. Right, so the way we're going to handle this then is when we click the item and we grab the details for that system, at the same time we'll select the star as our target. Right, which should give us something to pass through when we click send to helm, because we already then have that data there. And then on the helm side, we've got this. So, yeah. It looks like the helm's going to be the next target for an update, although not on this patch. Okay, so Alpha Centauri center helm. Ha! Okay, looking good. Right, so next up, to make these work. Okay, so basically we just need largely a duplicate of the other one. So where we've got select sector location, storm event. We need to do select system location, I guess. And then we need to pass through. Yeah, so that one there. It's actually hard to know how long I've been live. I guess in total it's about 4 hours and 20 minutes. I started at 8 and it's now 20 past midnight for me. That's true, 2 whole breaks. Yeah, I'd love to go tour a submarine or a naval ship. And I don't just mean tour the bits they let you see on a public tour. I want to go crawling around, crawling around in the bilge area and just really having a good look at everything. See how it's welded together and where the pipes run, and really get in there. Hey Pycor, all good, thanks. Just getting to the bottom of this data refactor for the sensors. Yeah, Zoke's probably right, actually. Ooh, what's been the most difficult so far? I think some of the planetary science stuff has been quite hard. Maybe not so much the science itself, but the complexity of it and just the sheer number of variables. When you're working out whether or not a planet is truly capable of supporting life as we know it, there are just so many variables to take into account. Right down to how oxygen is saturated at different air pressures. And it's not just the percentage of oxygen in the air that matters. It's also the pressure of that air. And the higher the air pressure, the less oxygen you need. And there's just so many variables. So yeah, that's been a challenge. And yeah, I guess this sensors UI has been not so much a challenge, more... Well, I suppose no, it has been a challenge, but not in the sense that it's been difficult, but in the sense that it's been a lot to think about and a lot to organize, and there are so many very large data structures involved, making sure that they all align and making sure that the data is being generated in the right order, and we're not generating things needlessly because it costs CPU time, and all those sorts of things. The sensors is without a shadow of a doubt the most complicated UI in the game, and the entire galaxy is fed through this one panel. So the rest of the consoles on the bridge should be a breeze compared to this. So yeah, I'd say planetary data and the sensors have been the two biggest challenges. Oh, and making a character sit in a chair. That's surprisingly awkward too. I think I might actually be missing a variable from my struct here. Now, the astrometrics should largely just be an extension of what we've done here. And most of it's going to be, well, I suppose that the hard part with the astrometrics is saving all of the data, because the save file needs an array of this, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's all stored in structs. So originally, the sensors had just a separate variable for each data point, which worked when the sensors were fairly straightforward. But as the sensors have become more and more complex with more and more data, we've gotten to the point where really now we need to store that in a structure and access that as a set data container and share that data container around to the various different systems. I'll definitely be doing this by default from now on. Absolutely, Firstus, yeah, because now that we have a single, I suppose you could call it a state file for the sensors, all you need to do is save this struct, and that's it, you're done. That's all the sensors data saved in one struct. So the save game just needs one struct for each of the consoles on the bridge, for example, and we just save that data. It's nice and straightforward. Yeah, I think we'll leave orbital mechanics for a while. Right, so in order to work out whether or not this list item is highlighted, we need to compare the local coordinates of the body against the local coordinates of what we have targeted. So that's this one. So we need, I suppose we've got sensor target there, we can use that one. And we've also got selected system object. I think I'll use that actually, because that's kind of the newer version of it. That one's probably redundant now. Alright, yeah, so it means we need to set the selected system object when we click thingy. so what are we setting here? So we've got that's irrelevant, so we don't want that. So that's this object. So we also need to know so that's not used for anything. That's not used for anything. Alright. Let's rename that one then to selected system location. Right, so this is our record of what is currently targeted. If we wanted to do a really thorough job with it, we could compare the galactic coordinates as well. At least for the time being, the chances of two planets having the exact same coordinates when it's down to the kilometre is very unlikely. So that's what we've got targeted versus this object. That should give us our highlight. So all we need to do now just to make sure that gets passed through. So go through to here, so then we get rid of that. Pop that in there. Okay. Okay, so we've got that one there, so we need to do a duplicate of that. Need another. Let's call that detail items. Right, so that just handles populating that piece of information. We now need to update the ones that are there. So that there is called, when you click on the list items, that's called from here. So we do the clickety click, that fires that fires that, which fires that. Yeah, so we need to do the same thing here. So it needs to fire that. Then we just need to redraw that list now. So it's not that one we want, that one. So we'll loop through all of those. It's a different class, so we'll change our cast. And set selected system location, which would be that one. Force updating, right? So that's that. That one. Yep. That should be it, hopefully. Hey Don, yeah. Hey Jack, so is the real astrological data limited to the star and some super planets that interpolate everything else? Well, right now, the real stellar data is the name of the real world star, its Kelvin temperature value, its stellar class, and its location within the galaxy. All of the planets are procedurally generated, but where in the future we have known exoplanet data, we'll use that data instead of procedurally generating them. Huzzah! Yeah, that was too many. Okay, so the highlight's working. Great. Retains the fact we've got that one highlighted, so we can just go back and forth between the two, which is nice. Alpha Centauri. So if we highlight that gas giant there, does it remember? No, it doesn't. Why? Okay. Cross that bridge at another time. But yeah, so that works. So the only other thing that's left to do on here now is hook up this. Yeah, and then we can get that sent to the helm. Then we just need to do the data display as well. Right, so I'm going to make the last thing I do on stream hooking up this. And I shall call it a night, because it's 1:45 here now. And I'm sure Claire is probably chomping at the bit to get to bed. So, quickly click, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Don. I'm sure Claire very much appreciates it. Thank you, Firstus. It's always a pleasure to have you on stream, and as usual, you've been mental generous. Thank you. So we need to know then what mode we're on, because it's going to inherit the sector location data. It doesn't know that we've clicked details, so we need to tell it that. Which means we're going to need... Probably going to need an enum, actually. Yeah, the dev build, I would say, is almost done. I mean, we can click planets now. Once we can target them and fly to them, I would say that was good enough for a dev build. There's no data showing for the planets, so that'll probably have to be for Sunday's build. But if I can just get them targeting, then I would say we're good enough for a build. But this does require that I add a new thing here, so this is going to have to be an engine restart. Can't add stuff without restarting the engine. So we need enum on that'll do for now. Display mode. Call it something more intelligent at a different date. That'll do for now, I think. So either we're listing the sector locations or we're listing the system locations. What? Oh, no. Go-away bridge. Right, which means we need another variable on here. Which is long. current page. That'll do. I'll rename this actually because that does make more sense. Oh, that's really cool, Don. Well done. Our two pigeons aren't quite that intelligent yet. Every time we try and acclimatise them to the outside, they just go and hide under a bush in our neighbour's garden and won't move. Let's just restart the engine a sec. I noticed today actually 5.5 preview is now available to download, and there's a new lighting solution in 5.5 which could be a huge game changer for us. It basically supports, as they say, orders of magnitude more real-time lights with shadows. And if that proves to be the case, then that's going to do wonders for our frame rate, because by far lighting is our biggest costly item. So if the new lighting solution in 5.5 is that good, then we could see a huge FPS increase. So fingers crossed for that. I saw a preview of it. Let me see if I can find it a sec. Megalights it's called. Shush video. I'll post it in the chat if anyone wants to have a look. But yeah, we use so many lights on the ship that we're having to jump through loads of different hoops to get them to work performantly. So if the new Megalights system works as well as they advertise, then yeah, that's going to be a really, really good thing for the game. probably be a good idea to format these actually. Remove the trailing zeros. Ah, excellent. Hopefully we are about to see great success. Right, so sector location, that just needs to be all the zeros. Which means we don't need that. So that select statement should actually just immediately solve the problem for us. Now we just need to make sure we set this value. Which I suppose we'll do with the forward and back buttons. It'll be the easiest place to do it. Speaking of the forward and back buttons, where are they? Forward and back, right, so we need current page on both of these. So details is going to be system locations, back is going to be sector locations. Should be the only place I need to set that. And then that will be read by the UI. Right, let's give that a whirl a minute. Right, so it's correctly setting the coordinates there. So if we go into the details, aha. Okay, it's almost working. Did I just select the galaxy coordinates twice? Like some kind of a moron? Yes, I did. We are about to find that out. Okay, Alpha Centauri, view detail, gas giant. Yeah, definitely got numbers. Wondering whether I need to remove those commas. Let's try setting that to the helm. Yep, it's working. We have ourselves a gas giant. So the lag that is currently being experienced is because the ship is updating the local coordinates, i.e. these ones. It's updating them at 30 times a second. Of course, now that we're drawing the UI based on that data input, it means it's refreshing this UI currently 30 times a second, which is less than optimal. And we're not moving, so that's also interesting. Okay. Yeah, because what it's doing is so on here. So the basically the local coordinates are updating 30 times a second whilst the ship is at warp. And what that's doing is that's triggering this update. So it's broadcasting the data out and updating the UI. So it doesn't matter so much that it's broadcasting it out, because whatever's at the other end can handle that. The fact that it's updating the UI is the problem. So essentially this is firing all the time. Ooh, my live stream page just crashed. Oh, are we still here? Are we back? My browser tab crashed that time. Phew. So I think all I need to do actually to solve this problem is every time we send an update through from this, we just need to just do something like that. So skip refresh. Again, useful that we can send messages through. And then on here, and we'll update that anyway. But then if we get our action message, and if we do does not equal skip refresh, then we'll do what we normally do. Make sure I did actually call it skip refresh. I'll copy paste it to remove any chance of a typo. Yeah, so if it doesn't equal skip refresh, then carry on and process. And that should stop it updating at 30 times per second. Okay. Weird. Well, that's weird. Normally that's because it's not firing the levels have been loaded message. Although that's not looking very healthy. Oh, and Unreal has crashed. Hurrah! Well, I think, to be honest, that's probably a good time to call it a night. It's just gone 1 a.m. and my computer could probably do with a reboot. So I shall call it there for now. But we made good progress tonight, despite the crashing and the blue screens. And tomorrow I shall get that new PC built, I think, because this is getting silly. Do we even still have a stream running? Can anyone hear me? Yes, you can hear me. Great. Perfect. I thought that had crashed as well. Talk about challenging development environments. I mean, this is like extreme game dev with things crashing and burning all around me. Alright, thanks again everyone, and thanks for everyone's generosity. And I shall see you on the Sunday stream, so have a lovely rest of the week, and I shall see you then. Bye for now.